Hello everyone. Now let's write the SSR and CSR code and understand CSR and SSR in a detailed manner. So right now I have a Next.js application which is connected to PostgreSQL using Prisma client. So right now I have couple of buttons. So there is nothing here right now when I click it. So the reason why I mentioned flight details for CSR client-side rendering, because flight details are not going to change very often, and at the same time I added flight coordinates and SSR server-side rendering, because these coordinates are going to continuously change, and every time when I click this button I want to get the latest coordinates and display, and when I click this one, these details are going to be captured at the page is pre-rendered at the build time, so it will automatically render the same data every time, but this will be triggered every time when I click and navigate to this page. It will go to the server and get the details as well as the HTML content and render onto the page. Okay, along with this I have a Prisma Studio. I connected this Next.js application with a PostgreSQL table and using Prisma. This is a Prisma Studio. You can see there are a couple of tables. So in these two tables, I have flight details, flight name, height and capacity, and I have one more table, flight coordinates, flight name, latitude, longitude. Okay, well, let's get these details and display on the page. Okay. So to start with, I'll create a flight details page here. Okay. Okay, I'm creating a flight details page. Within this, I'll just copy the base. I don't need this. Flight details. For now, I'll just keep it like this, empty. Okay. So here, to get the flight details, I'm going to use client-side rendering. For that, I need to use get static props method. So I'll use export async function get static props okay, and it will, so right now I need to get the flight details here. Okay, to get the flight details I need to use the Prisma. So for that, first I'll import the Prisma client. Okay, so I already added these configuration details to connect to Prisma. If you have any questions, you can check my previous videos on the CRUD operation, how we can connect to Prisma. Prisma dot flight details. I want to get the flight details, and the method, I want to get all the records from this table. Okay, but I just wanted to select only specific field. I don't want created date and updated date. So for that reason, I'll just get only the ID and the name, height of the flight, and the capacity of the flight. Okay, I want to get only these details. Okay, so okay, now once I get these details, what I need to do is I need to return props, and I'll return this flight details. So this is how you can write the client side rendering method, which is get static props. Okay, once I get these details, I'm going to pass it to this particular component. Okay, the way we need to pass the details are, this is how you can pass the input parameters for this particular component. Okay, along with this, we need to set the input get static props type, the type of the details, and it is type of get static props. Okay, so this is how you can create the static props or client side rendering. Now I have these flight details. Now I can print or use them in the component. Okay, so I'll just add a div, the class name. I want to align this at least to look better. Content center and items center. Okay, now within this I'll take the UL, which is unordered list. Okay, within this I'll start with flight details dot map. So flight details dot map, and I'll get each flight details. Okay, then so within this I'll take a list, and here I'll print the details. Flight dot name, I'll keep this in the H1. Just to show these values little bit bigger, this particular one, and flight dot height, and flight capacity. Okay, these are the details that I want to display. Now let's go back and check. So when I get the flight details, I need to get these two records and display. Okay, this is client side rendering. When I click it, you can see the flight and its height and the capacity details that we printed. Okay, now first time when we hit this, we are getting this detail fast because this particular flight details page is already rendered during the build time itself. Okay, and every time when we hit, it will get this, it will be running only on the client side and display the same data. And even we can cache this data because this is not changing. Even if you refresh it, it's not changing. Okay, this is how you can write client side rendering. Okay, now let's go back and write the server side rendering. Okay, within these pages I'll create one more page. I'm creating one more page called flight coordinates.tsx. Okay, within this I'll just copy paste the same stuff, but I'll change some minor details. It will be the flight coordinates, and I'll get flight coordinates. This one infer get static props type will change to infer get server side props type. Here it will be get server side props. Okay, and once we get the flight coordinates, we'll display the name and latitude and longitude. Okay, for this we need to pass flight coordinates here, but flight coordinates are part of flight coordinates table, and there is no height in the coordinates, no name, or there is a name but capacity is not there. So the latitude and the longitude, okay, this will become get server side props. Okay, so this is how you can write the server side rendering method, get server side props. Now on the page load, every time when we navigate to this particular page, it will make the server call, get the data and attach it to the HTML and render from the server, and it is passed to the browser and it will be printed, executed and rendered on the browser. Okay, that is the difference. Let's check flight coordinates. Now you see, you can see the flight name and the coordinates. The reason why I used server side rendering for coordinates is because every time, usually in real-time project, if you practically think of a flight with coordinates, when the flight is moving, its coordinates are going to continuously change. So when there is a situation where your content is continuously changing or keep on changing, better to go for server side rendering instead of client side rendering, so that every time when you navigate to this page, it will get the latest data and render this page from the server. And when it comes to the CSR, it is plain content which will not change on regular basis or frequently, like a blog post or something like that. These are not going to change very often. So for this type of scenario, if you keep this type of data or API calls within the get static props, so that it will execute during the build time itself. Build time meaning when you start the application. Okay, during that build time itself, it will generate the HTML and it will be passed to the client side. And next time onwards, every time when you hit this, it will be rendered on the client side itself. It's not going to make a call to the server. Okay, that is the difference. Thank you. See you in the next video.